Okay, I'm here with Mr. Neal Smith. We like to refer to him sometimes as Mr. Chester County. He's a long time important guy in our community in lots of different ways. He's helped this community through personal and business ventures, and he's just a true asset to our community. And tell us about what makes up Neal Smith.
Well, I have done a lot of things in my life. I started out at the cotton gin with my dad and farming, and everything worked out pretty good there. And then I went from there to the restaurant and operated a bulldozer for several years. And the restaurant taught me a lot of things about a lot of people. Most people are easy to get along with. Some are not. So you have to deal with them. But treat them like you would like to be treated, and it'll be okay. And then from the restaurant, I went to the courthouse. I was elected county executive and juvenile judge, and I learned a lot from that. Of course, I had two boys of my own, Robert and Stacy, and I knew how to deal with children, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with their children. I had several women to come to me who were single moms and said, "I can't do nothing with him. Can you help me?" And sometimes I could and sometimes I couldn't, one to the child. And then after that, I went to work for United States Senator Jim Sasser. I traveled 17 counties in West Tennessee and went to Washington several times, and we had meetings in Nashville and Knoxville, and I really enjoyed that work. I met a lot of people, and good people, and Sasser supporters, and I really liked that job. And from that, I went to Quinco Mental Health Center. I've been on that board for several years. And then from Quinco, I went to Southwest HRA, and I was on that board and chairman of the board for 3 years in a row. And we delivered commodities throughout the 8-county area. And then a good friend of mine, Bob East, who was president of Chester County Bank, and I had been on the board of Chester County Bank for many years, and Bob passed away, and they appointed me president of Chester County Bank, and went for several years at that position. And then the board of directors decided to sell Chester County Bank to Centennial Bank. And at this time, I still work at Centennial Bank. And everybody wants to know when I'm going to retire, and I tell them when they run me off.
That's good. It's a great answer.
Okay.
Well, tell us about your time as a county executive, what we now know as a county mayor. How many years did you serve as county executive?
8 years. And it was, I learned a lot at that office also. My good friend John Wilder, who was lieutenant governor, helped us through a lot of things, and Southwest Development District and Southwest HRA was two of the big things that he helped us. We had some problems with that, and like to lost our funding, and John Wilder pulled us through it. And they're still in business and serve a lot of people at this time.
I know Lieutenant Governor Wilder was a big advocate for West Tennessee. He was a West Tennessee person and a great mouth and set of ears in the capital for West
Yeah.
Tennesseans. And,
When I was county executive, I was elected chairman of the Tennessee County Executive Association. And I went to Nashville a lot, and Governor Wilder went in his office and he said, "Neal, my office is your office, and my secretary is your secretary. Use my phone anytime you need to." And he was a good guy.
well, that's great. Well, he sounds like he was speaking to a good guy as well. Well, I've got just a couple questions, or actually more than a couple, but just so describe your philosophy on business. How do you feel a person should do business?
Well, if you treat people like you would like to be treated, everything's gonna work out for you. If you mistreat people, it's gonna work out for you, but not good.
And what goes around comes around. And,
That's right.
well, what have you seen or experienced in your professional life that had an impact on your business?
Well, doing the right thing and treating people like you'd like to be treated. And that comes back to you.
Did any person influence you as a business leader or a community leader?
My dad said, "Son, whatever job you have, do it right." He said, "If you're sweeping the floor, sweep it good." Said, "Whatever you're doing, do it good, and give your time and effort to it." And I've tried to do that down through the years. Another thing I mentioned in my life, hadn't mentioned in my life, was Wanda, my wife, and I owned and operated WHHM radio station, and did a lot of things for Chester County and the surrounding area through the radio.
Yeah, that was I know as a kid listening to WHM and hearing Miss Wanda on there frequently. She was really good at what she did and was a very good disc jockey, I guess is what you could say. But
Yeah.
really good spokesperson for our county, and you both have. But have you seen any changes? What kind of change have you seen in this community that you've experienced?
Well, the change has really been a lot. Of course, I'm older than most people get to be, and I have seen the times when a Coke was a nickel and gasoline was 28 cents. And those things have changed seriously.
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
And food at the grocery store is another change that has, and more people are eating out now than did back in my day. And most people raised a big garden to help feed their family, and worked hard at it, and it was good. It was a good life back then. And the laws have changed, and there's so many regulations now that whatever you're in, the banking business, farming, whatever you're in, the regulations are terrible at this point. Hard to live with.
Yeah, that's something else that you might have failed to mention is you've always been fairly active in agriculture as a farmer. Alongside of your other many jobs, you've always ran the family farm as well.
Absolutely. Cattle and cotton and corn and soybeans. A good life.
Well, I don't think there's anybody in our community that's more respected than you are. What would you feel? I'm sure if you ask 100 different people, that all have say different things that you've provided for the community or changed in a positive way. But what do you feel like you've had a hand in that's made an impact in the community from your own observation?
Well, the banking industry that I have been involved in has helped a lot of people. In the early days, there was about one bank, and a lot of times they wouldn't loan people money that they didn't know. Chester County Bank came along and helped a lot of people that couldn't get help at the other bank, and it paid off for us. And the bank grew and grew as time went on.
Well, I think you're a good read of character, and I'm sure you used that in discerning how to help and who was trustworthy to help. And
Right. Well, most people I always told them, I said, they won't know if they can get a loan. And I said, sure, you can get a loan if you'll make us where we can sleep.
That's a good philosophy. Do you remember anything that happened in your youth that had a big impact on how you would live your life or choose your profession?
Well, I don't know about that. I remember one thing that happened in my life. When I was 16 years old, I, of course, was wanting to drive awful bad and had just got my driver's license. And my mom wanted to go visit the graveyard where her people was buried. And I had to go get some gas in the car. Well, during that time, I met up with some of my buddies and we took a little joyride. Went out towards the Enmore and Moss Curve, turned over 2.5 times and skinned my head a little bit. But if it hadn't, I figured my daddy would have killed me.
I'm sure that had an effect on how you probably, how responsible you were probably later on.
Yes, it really did.
Well, if you could leave one message to future generations, of course we know the younger folks doesn't quite seem to have the same work ethic, at least as a majority doesn't seem to work ethic as folks your age and maybe even folks my age. But what would be a message to generations you'd like to pass on to them on how they should conduct themselves?
The same thing that my dad passed on to me. Get a job and stick with it and do it right and save you money for retirement. It's this day and time, Social Security, you can't live on it of the high costs that we have now.
Right.
Yeah. And treat people like you would like to be treated, and it will be good.
That's wise words. You got any funny stories you'd like to share with us about your from your personal life or your career?
Well, I've got a few, but I can't tell them.
Well, some things are best left unsaid, right?
Right.
Well, I appreciate you doing this interview for the Legacy Project for West Star, and hope other folks can view this and extract a lot of wisdom from it as you pass on to everybody that knows you. And I'm proud to know you and glad to be a fellow Chester County with you, and we appreciate all you do for our county.
Thank you.